and welcome to Queen's Table. It's Thursday night, and this gives me so much pleasure to say this. Our special guest this evening is Miss Atlantic UK.
Hi! Oh my God, hi!
Oh, hello, Sheri. How are you, my darling?
To be honest, I'm really tired. I started a new job this week, so I'm on an own information overload. But I'm actually really good. Other than that, how are you? Oh
I'm very, very good, thank you. It's so lovely to see your face, and it's so
and
great to see you in a
yours.
crowd. Yay! It's just so exciting. I absolutely love it. Because I suppose the last time we've seen each other really was at the Galaxy Pageants over a year ago.
Literally the week before lockdown. That was the last time last time I pretty much saw most people was that lovely Galaxy weekend before we all said bye for like over a year.
I know, isn't it? It's been an interesting year, but at least we do have virtual things like this, so
We
we can keep
do.
in contact. So it's absolutely fabulous. So let's start. I cannot wait to talk to you tonight and to hear all about your journey. So let's start at the beginning. What got you into pageants in the first place?
I've had the probably very similar story to most of us pageant girls is I went through a very terrible time of bullying. I was at the lowest point of my self-confidence and I was just scrolling through Facebook and a lovely Welsh pageant girl was doing a photo competition. I can't tell you how they got on my Facebook, but it somehow appeared and I entered just for the laugh thinking I was not going to be anything. I had just done some professional photos that was gifted to me by my family and I ended up winning, which was so weird. Like I was like, really, considering I've been told for the last like 4 or 5 years prior that I was a lot of like worthless, I was ugly, wasn't going to go anywhere, and I ended up winning my first ever photo competition. And I just went on from there, really, just a couple of little online ones. And then in 2015, I was on that. I think quite a few people know about that Star Now platform. And Miss Teen Great Britain, of course, was advertising. So I thought, why not? The same fit sort of thought I when I entered that first photo competition. It's not going to go anywhere, just a bit of a laugh. And lo and behold, I went through to the finals where I met the lovely Emma Collinridge, who won that year. She took me under her wing, and I caught the pageant bug ever since. And here we are, like 6 years on from that year, Miss Atlantic.
See, that was meant to be. What popped up then was meant to be on your Facebook
It
that day.
was.
Everything happens for a reason. I'm a great believer in that. Just before we go on, just to remind everybody watching, please, if you've got any questions for your Miss Atlantic UK, then do drop them in the comments and we will ask away. So, what made you choose the Atlantic system?
I've known Romy for a very long. She judged me at one of my very first pageants, and she's just such an inspirational queen. And she knows what it's like to be a pageant girl. So the fact that she had the expertise going into being a director is something that I know I could trust her to give me a good experience just in that. So, and then also in the finals, she knows what we want. She knows that we want to be able to relax, have a bit of a laugh, but also that being able to keep it as a competition and be able to make that professional environment for all of us. So that was my first like thought was like, I'm following Romy wherever she goes, because she obviously did Miss Sensation first, but I was already tied into another pageant, and I do one pageant a year. I don't have the time and the money to be able to do more than one, so I put my all into that pageant I was already in. So I thought, right, next time I'm no longer tied, it'll be Miss Sensation. The one year I wasn't tied was the year she went for Miss Universe, so Miss Sensation didn't happen, unfortunately, but then she brought back Atlantic in 2018, ready for 2019, and I thought, this is it, I've got to go for it. I've been wanting to be under Romy's director for so long, and also the ethos of just making waves in pageantry and caring about mental health and mind charity. It's things that I already wanted to do. It was already who I was as a person. Mental health is very strong to me. I've done work with Mind Mental Health previously. I was even under them as a client, or I think that's probably, yeah, as or a patient, should I say, for them with my mental health. So it's like I wanted to give back to them, and making waves in pageantry is, we in the UK are trying to build that way of breaking those stereotypes as a pageant girl. We're not the tall, thin, all about whatever, and there's horrible stereotypes that we do get put onto. So to make that difference and break out those stereotypes, to encourage girls that actually pageantry is all about life lessons, making friends for life, and becoming a better version of yourself. You just get a lovely crown and sash to add to it and be able to broadcast your message so much further than what you may be able to do without it, maybe. So that's why Atlantic was just, it was just pretty much how I felt as a person. So we all say find a pageant that speaks to you as a person, not fit yourself to be in a system. And Atlantic was just that for me. That's why I went back after only coming top 5 that first year. I walked off stage and I was like, Romy, I'll see you next year. Thanks, Wiltshire title. Thank you. See you next year.
Definitely. Oh, it is a fantastic system, and that is so true what you say. You need to find a system that suits you personally, and you know, you follows your beliefs. You should definitely never change for a system. You should just always be true to yourself, and that, you know, that's why there's so many different systems out there, and like that's why certain girls might go for one system instead of another, because it might mean more to them and the way it's run and things like that. But yeah, I do love the Atlantic system, and I certainly know my daughter does. So yeah,
Definitely my little sister queen.
She is, yeah, and she cannot wait to come on after this and give you a little hello later on. That's going to be lovely. So one thing I really noticed, and I met you at Galaxy, and I fell in love with you straight away, and you were just absolutely lovely. But I have noticed a massive transformation leading up to Atlantic. I mean, I'm talking about this confidence and just everything. You've just transformed. Tell me a little bit how you did that.
So my journey with pageantry was all about trying to regain my confidence. And for a few years, I was getting there. I was getting out in my community more. I was being able to speak to people more often. Even just getting on a stage, that's just a huge accomplishment for anyone. Even if you just stand on that stage for a moment, that's an accomplishment overall. So to be able to do that, I was there. But I think over the years, I was almost kidding myself that I wasn't quite happy in myself, but I was putting my all into every pageant I was doing, but I wasn't necessarily doing as well as I thought, I hoped I would do. So over lockdown, I had a bit of a, I was out every weekend. I think a lot of people know I was trying to be everywhere. I did stretch myself so thin with working full time, doing like we all love to do, because we just want to be out there with our sashes, making a difference. But with lockdown, that all stopped. So I went from being out every weekend to stuck in my four walls, something I probably hadn't done in nearly 6 years. And that was when I was at the lowest of my life, when I was bullied horrifically. I didn't want to leave. So to be thrown back into that situation, as well as dealing with the pandemic, I was classed as a vulnerable person. I was not allowed to leave. I was put on the even stricter lockdown than a lot of people. Like, I had home deliveries, or my boyfriend had to go out and get our food. I couldn't leave. And that was until August. And the first day I got let out, in August 2nd, I went to see some family, but they ended up having potential contact. So I was locked straight back in. So it really took a hit on my mental health. And like I think most people, I took into comfort eating, I was sleeping, or I was just working. I only meant to work 8 hours a day. I was doing 14-hour days, because I forgot that life and work balance, because I was at home. What was the point? I might as well just do what I need to do. And then when I ended up losing my job in August last year and having a whole month off, it kind of reset myself. I wasn't happy. I wasn't feeling confident. I didn't really want to do appearances. I didn't want to take photos, something that I had built up. And it's like, maybe that was always there. So gaining that extra bit of weight that I had been losing over the years, I just was so unhappy in myself, and everything I'd worked towards was just losing. So I thought, that's it, I'm done pitying. I need to stop feeling like this. I need to do something about it, and I needed help. So I reached out to a few people, one being my sponsor, Warhorse Training. And I've known Anton since I was a paper girl, when I was like 13, 14 years old, and he just whipped me into shape. And then mix him with the incredible Rachel Tate of Pageant Coaching Academy, who was supporting me, getting me my confidence, my mindset, and just everything, working on my walks, my content, and how to just be an overall round feeling better in myself. Put them two together and they became my little dream team. And I ended up losing an incredible amount of weight for myself, to the point that I felt better and I was feeling more confident. I started fitting back into my clothes that I had lost out on, and it just became an overall sensation that I think a lot of people commenting is I was never unhappy with my body. I was just feeling unhappy in myself. So for me, working out became an outlet for my mental health. And it was when the change of my mind happened is when I started feeling just better overall. And I just felt so much more confident. And I can just go on and on about this all day, I feel like.
Oh, no, it's so lovely to see because I just know you just shine now. You walk into a room and
Yeah.
just shine. It's because you're happy inside, and that's
Yeah.
what really, really shows. And that's brilliant. And I'm so happy for you because it does show. You're just like confident and you look happy, and that's the best part of it, isn't it? So let's go on then to talk about that winning moment.
Oh.
I mean, I watched it. It was brilliant. How did you feel when your name was called out and you won?
Honestly, I was speechless. And I think anyone who's seen the video of me on that night, I came onto stream with Jess. I couldn't talk. Like my voice was just gone. Like I couldn't genuinely believe it. I woke up the next morning panicking my pin curls weren't in, thinking that they'd fallen out during my sleep because it didn't happen. And it took so long for it all to actually register that that night had really been a dream come true. And that whole night I was on a high. I had I had to really kind of try and calm down. It just didn't happen. My boyfriend, bless him, my neighbors, bless their soul, had to deal with the screaming of this household. Everyone just erupted in this place. My poor dog had
Brilliant.
the fright of his life, but he was then barking and was happy. He's like, oh my God, celebration, yay! I was like, oh, that's not what I needed, not the dog. But it
Oh,
was just the most memorable and just incredible evening of my life, really, especially since it was so unusual. It's not the way that you usually would get crowned or anything, so I was just like, we sure this has happened? Is this really it?
yeah, it was a fabulous, fabulous night. And I tell you what, it's probably the best competition I think I've seen virtually. It was so well put together and very well, the hosted very well. Obviously,
Most
our founder of
definitely.
Pageant, Jessica Barkley, she did brilliant, didn't she?
She
But
did.
I mean, we loved it here. I think it was just great. Everyone getting dressed up, and it felt like we were back in pageant land. It was just so well put together, and it was wonderful. You could do your walks, and you had your fashion wear, and you did your walk outside, didn't you? Tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
So I am very fortunate. I got to go down to Winchester with Ruth and Jason, and they found this beautiful outdoors area just so that we weren't doing anything in a studio. We were keeping everything as COVID regulated as possible because we wanted to make sure we can keep our distance and everything. So being able to do it outdoors, we had to choose the day the wind was the worst. And where we were in that little out, it wasn't really little alcove, but it was we had the building, then just pillars all around. It was a wind tunnel. It was a complete and utter, it caught the wind. So you could stand behind the building, and there were points that it was sunshine, and like you'd think it was like a nice little heat wave. So I would be sat there with no coat on. I was fine. As soon as I stepped into where we were doing our walks, I was freezing, full of goosebumps, like trying to cover up my coat. It was the most funniest day, and it was just nice to be outdoors, and it gave me probably the most closest thing to almost a pageant walk, because doing it in my little bedroom, I'd fed up of seeing that thing. I needed out of it. I couldn't do my pageant walks for it.
Yeah, oh, it's funny actually. Pageant Land, so it might be Jess on there. She says people pay lots of money for wind machines,
We
but that is
do.
so true. But it just all worked, didn't it? Because you
It
had
did.
the walk, your walk was incredible, and you had that bit of wind in your hair. I thought it was fabulous
It
location.
honestly
It was
worked in our
brilliant.
favor so much, and we were trying to find it pinned it we were trying to like find the exact way for me to walk to get that exact perfect moment of wind, and I think it came out really well. I really enjoyed the videos. Well, I love the videos. I keep watching them back, and that sounds so bad, but they're my favorite pageant walk videos to date that I think I've ever had. So
So you should watch them back. You absolutely smashed it. You were fabulous. I would watch them back if they were that good as well. Definitely, you deserve to do that without a doubt. So competing virtually, obviously, it was very different. How did you feel about competing virtually? Did you prefer it, or would you a bit maybe upset that you missed out walking on stage? I mean, obviously, you can do your handover next year. How did you feel about the whole thing?
I think it was a bit of both, really. Like with competing virtually and on stage, they both have their pros and their cons. For virtually, it for me it was it was very stressful because I'm a last minute person when it comes to appearances. So like we had to have all of our submissions. So our headshots had to be in March, which was fine. And then our appearances, submission videos, our question and our facts had to be in on the 16th, and then everything gets done the week after on the 24th. And I'm a last minute person. I like doing as many appearances as possible. And I had actually started my appearance folder for the first time in my entire pageant history, and there are people out there who will quote me. I literally spend the 3 nights before the pageant doing my whole pageant folder. I decided this year, not happening. I'm going to be prepared. So I started them in September. I started continuing November, everything. When I went to open up all of it in about second week or beginning of April, I had lost all the data. I did over 100 appearances and I'd written up about 3/4 of it. I was sat there from like the 10th of April redoing my whole appearance folder ready for submission on the 16th. And I was like, I could have done with that extra week to be able to do this folder and get it ready. Luckily, we could send it over virtually, so we didn't have to post it out where you did have the option, but I just had mine in a lovely PDF folder. I literally laid it out as if I was going to print it and how I would have printed it. But I was like, no, let's do it in a PDF folder. Otherwise, that would never reach Romy in time for the 16th because I needed as much time as possible. So that was really stressful, and I still had that same feeling, but then it was that wait, that 1 week wait where you've submitted your videos. There's nothing to do. Like, you can keep doing appearances, but it's just, you're now just sat there like, what do I do with my life?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
bit, yeah,
And
yeah.
that day is what, like the day before on the night of, like last year when we did Atlantic, we travelled up on the Friday to compete on the Saturday. We met all of the girls in the local beefeater that attached to the Premier Inn to have a night together, meet everyone, have a laugh and a joke, have some food before we met. And I was just like, we didn't get that. And I was just like, I missed that. But then I didn't have to travel, which was absolutely lovely. Like the thought that you already done it, you're at home, you don't need to pack, you don't have to worry about making sure that you've got everything. Like last year, I did probably like the biggest mistake. I forgot a razor, and when I was shaving, getting ready for the day, I shaved everywhere but one armpit.
Oh no.
Literally I
Right.
don't know what went through. The arm was done and everything. It just, the underarm was not. And it was the most weirdest thing that I think I'd ever thought I'd done in my life. So that was brilliant. I didn't have to worry about messing up like that. But the wait on the day, like you had the morning, like, yeah, I can get ready, you can chill, that's fine. I can take my time doing my hair and makeup. I missed having Glam Squad who have done my makeup for the last 3 years and have to do it myself. I was like, I don't feel as good. I missed that. Just things like that. And then you do your interview. So mine was at 2 o'clock, well, 2:05. And then the show didn't start till 8 o'clock. So when you finished it by 2:10, I had like a 5.5 hour wait, or no, more than, yeah, 5.5 hour wait till the show started. And usually you're doing rehearsals, you're getting ready, you're chatting with the girls.
Oh, hang on, Sheri has frozen at the moment. Are you back? Let's just see if we can get Sheri back a moment. Sheri, can you hear me? Okay, so unfortunately, we've lost Sheri for a moment. I think she's coming back. We'll try. So, Sheri, can you hear me? The wonders of technology on a Thursday night. So, okay, so Sheri's frozen at the moment, and I don't know whether we're going to get her back. We shall try. But in the meantime, basically, we can tell you a little bit coming up. So if you want to join the team at Pageantland, do go onto the Pageantland website, because there is an opportunity to join the team. There's only 2 weeks left to submit that application at the moment. So if you do want to join the team, then please submit in the next 2 weeks. It's a great opportunity. So next week, we have got Rachel Heslop. She is coming on to here on Queen's Table next week, and she's UK's National Miss Newcastle, and that's going to be live on Facebook next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Okay, so it looks like we've actually lost Sheri tonight, unfortunately, but we've had a lovely, lovely chat with her. And I am sorry we've lost her early this evening, but as you can see, she's an absolute queen and it has been amazing to talk to her. So we will see you next week on Queen's Table at 7:30 on Thursday. Bye.